Hello, and welcome to day 8 of my StoWaStarMa video challenge, in which I attempt to make a video every day for the month of January. Today being day 8, and this being video 8, so far I'm doing pretty well. Today we're going to be talking about a natural disaster which had an unfortunate impact on the history of Western society. Additionally, it has had a lasting impact on how we store and preserve things of historical significance, but I'll get to that soon. We're going to be talking about the 1966 Arno River flood in Italy. It began on November 3rd of 1966. There had been a long period of protracted rain, and unfortunately, the amount of rain was proving to be too much for the two dams that they had in Valderno, Italy, and so they were forced to discharge 71,000 cubic feet towards Florence. On November 4th at 4 a.m., in order to prevent the dams from bursting, they had to discharge the water. And that water then sped towards Florence at a speed of 37 miles per hour. The impact was devastating. Ultimately, 101 people died in that flood. Additionally, 5,000 families were left without homes, and 6,000 businesses were destroyed. The impact was devastating. In addition to the loss of life and the loss of homes, there was a loss of culturally significant artifacts. The National Central Library lost approximately 1/3 of its collection. The state archives lost approximately 40% of their records. The archives of the Opera del Duomo had 6,000 documents and 55 illuminated manuscripts damaged. The Gabrietto Vusso Library, their entire collection was damaged in the flood. In addition to these massive collections, as well as the collections of many private collectors, collections that were held in bookstores and art dealers. There were also the collections held in churches and cathedrals that were damaged in this flood. Many things were lost, and many, many more were damaged. Some significant works of art that were damaged. Crucifix by Giovanni Cimabue lost 60% of the paint. More than half. The amount of preservation work that was done on that was painstaking. Additionally, it was painted on wood, and so the wood itself warped in the flooding, and so it had to be removed from its frame to prevent further damage. The Gates of Paradise by Lorenzo Ghiberti. To this day, preservation work continues on those. The gates have been replaced by a replica that has stood since the 90s, and they are working to try and repair as much of the damage as they can. It is being kept at the Museum of the Opera del Duomo while they continue the preservation work. Additionally, the statue Magdalene Penitent by Donatello, which is very famous. I didn't recognize the name when I was doing my research, but I looked it up, and when I saw it, I knew it. I had seen pictures of it. Very famous wooden statue, unfortunately, was damaged. So with all this loss and damage, the international community thankfully rallied and donated a lot of money and a lot of labor to aid in the preservation of these works. Researchers and volunteers from all over came to Italy, to Florence, to painstakingly remove these documents from the mud so that they could save as much as they could. These people were referred to as mud angels, and also flood ladies. There was a group that assisted. Because of the amount of things that needed to be preserved and repaired, and the amount of people involved, this had a lasting impact on the world of preservation itself, as new techniques were developed to address the particular issues involved. Part of the problem, part of why things were so bad, was that Florence is a place that has almost never flooded before. They've never had a flood of this scale, so they were completely unprepared. They didn't have an emergency plan for flooding because it wasn't an issue there prior to this event. Additionally, November 4th is a national holiday in Italy, and because of that, many businesses were closed, many of these libraries were closed. There weren't staff there to remove things and rescue things as the flooding began. The buildings were locked. It was difficult for it was difficult for anybody who wanted to get in and try and save anything to be able to get in. It was just one of those terrible happenstances of history. Thankfully, a great deal was able to be salvaged, and a great deal of things were able to be restored. However, also a great deal was lost. All right, so before we go, this being my video challenge month, I need to pick a new topic from the hat for tomorrow. I'm trying to do this blindly because I just looked at one, and so yeah. Oh, we're going to be talking about the Hobby Lobby smuggling scandal. This is actually an interesting one. Well, actually, a lot of these are very interesting, but this one I find interesting for a few reasons. Anyway, I will see you then. If you enjoyed this video, you know how YouTube works, and thanks for watching. Until next time, stay spooky.